floor with the paint. That would be the waterproof paint which you can proof like this. So having a stand would help that, because since we all have also done a rainwater harvesting here, so it would all get the soil would get deposited in the stand and proportion. So one would be cocoa peat. If you see, these are the gourds here. Hi everyone, welcome to my new vlog. So today's vlog is about the things which you have to have when you're planning to start a terrace garden. So especially if it's a small pot and all that, you can have a bags, grow bags and small plastic containers and all that. So I'll go into in detail on what you have to have. So these are the kind of pots you can have. So these are the pots which are the plastic containers. The plastic containers, because that would not give heavy weight for your terrace. And you can also coat your terrace floor with the paint. That would be the waterproof paint which you can proof it, which you can apply it for your whole terrace, if you see. And then what you can do is you should have a stand like this. So having a stand would help that, because since we all have also done a rainwater harvesting here, so the mud when the water gets drained from the drain hole, so it would all get the soil would get deposited in the stand and it would not come out. So later you can just take out the sand and mud present over here in the stand, and it would not go over here to the floor. So in that way the rainwater harvesting and the filter would not get affected in that way. And the second thing what I would tell you is the mud, cocoa peat and the soil proportion, so and the compost proportion. So for all the pots, if you see, we have added only the home wet waste compost. And if you have this vermicompost from a relevant person, you can get then the vermicompost also. And here we have added 1:1:1 proportion. So one would be cocoa peat. Cocoa peat is made of coconut coir, which is available in Amazon and any other local market also nowadays. And another one would be the red soil, and another one would be, there would be 3 ones, 1:1:1, and the third one would be the vermicompost or a home wet waste compost. So if you see here, we have this home wet waste containers here. So these containers is where we store all the wet waste and all that. So in that way we make a compost and add it to it. So in that way we have done this. So the plastic containers would help you in taking care of the weight in the terrace. So you can start loading your pot with mix it thoroughly, and then you can start loading your pot, not completely, not full, but at least half of your pot, so that growing while every week you can start adding the compost or vermicompost if you're growing a vegetable garden. So in that way, so half of your pot can be filled with the composition of cocoa peat, soil and wet waste compost or a vermicompost. So that is what it is for right now. Hope you are so that is how we are growing our terrace garden. If you see, these are the gourds here, and the brinjals are also coming up here. So these are the brinjals which are coming up here. So once you can add the seed as however you want, and then later you can just take out that particular plant, and then you can transplant it to some other container. So whichever container you feel free, you can transfer it to the other container. So in that way you can do that. So when you have a vegetable garden, you definitely have to compost. You have to add a compost every week. So every week, because if you see the vegetables, they are flowering, no, you have lot of flowers here, and lot of energy would go draining in producing flowers. So they definitely need an energy, and for them the food is the compost. So you should definitely have to add a compost for all the pots, for all the plants whichever you have. So let me just show you the compost, wet waste compost, which we have from one of the container. Oh, there is a lizard here. Yeah. So this is the well done compost. Sorry, that's the cocoa peat here. So that's the well done compost. So completely from our wet waste here. So this has a very beautiful smell, if you see. That has a mud smell. So that's how we do, and then we make our garden cleaner and greener. You see, this is the turkey berry we have, and that the flowers. So since it may rain today, I'll just close this because it may rain now. So in my another vlog, I'll come up with how you can do a trellis setup and how you can fix the vertical garden and all those stuffs in my another vlog. So right now, hope you enjoyed my vlog for today. Hope it's useful for you guys, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.